Okay, so we were talking about the journey of self love and understanding truth inside our own self. So, the first master I had, Master Boomni, he taught me the 5 things: Satya, truth inside yourself, Satyatam, Metatam, loving kindness inside yourself, Kantitam, what's Kanti?
Patience.
Yes, patience inside yourself. Vidya is effort, giving effort inside yourself. And if you do all those, you get Ubeka, which is balance. And so, in order to have balance, you have to start with the truth. And that really is difficult for most people. And the difficult part is that they don't know they're not telling the truth. And that's the hardest part about it, because like when I was in Thailand with my brother, I would have to say to him on a daily basis, is that true?
Mhm.
Is that true? And he would say, yes, it's true. And I would say, is it? You know, look at it. Is it true? You know? And most of the time when I was saying that, it was him saying things not kind about himself. Like, I'll never get this. I'll never be able to, you know, I'm always screwing up. And I'm like, is that true? No, it's not true. Nobody always, all the time screws up. No, that's not a truth. See, but we tell ourselves, we plant these seeds inside our brain and we tell ourselves, but they're not true, but we think they're true. So we take them as truth to ourselves, and it drives us down into this heaviness. But when we start saying, no, that's not true, nobody screws up all the time. And secondly, it's not screwing up. We judge ourselves like that. The truth is, we're learning. That's the truth. It's not good or bad. We're learning. So each thing is teaching us something, but we have to look for what it's teaching us. Sometimes it's not easy to see. Sometimes we're like, oh my God, this happened, and why did it happen? That's a good question. Why did it happen? Look for the teaching. It's teaching you. And the harder the lesson, the greater the wisdom you will have if you listen, if you pay attention. Like right now, my brother had a horrible motorcycle accident. He's been in the hospital and rehab since July 16th. He still cannot walk. That's a hard one, right? That's a huge lesson. And I just saw him tonight and I said to him, man, if you can see what you're supposed to learn through this, the wisdom you will have. It's really very beautiful. But we've been taught that these things are negative, they're bad, but they're not. I mean, the night he had his accident, I said to everybody here, I said, it sounds like it's bad, but what is bad is good. So remember, something good, it's going to teach him something. But we don't look for that. We get in the emotion of ourself. And when you're in your emotion and your feelings, it distracts you from the truth. I'll say that again. When you're in your emotions and your feelings, it distracts you from the truth. Now, how do we know that? Because every time we're emotional, we make a decision that we regret later.
Yes. I said that to you.
Yes. And so if you take a breath, step back, and go, okay, what's my teaching? What's my teaching? Don't get emotional. The minute you get emotional, you're going to make some kind of thing that you don't want. And it's funny because it's okay if you do that, because that's another lesson. You understand? Like, it's not a bad thing. It's okay. You do that, then pay attention because another lesson's coming. And the more you pay attention, then you start realizing the lessons that are coming, and you appreciate them because they're helping you grow and they're helping you get to the place that you really want to be. But we take things in our emotion and our feelings, and then we get sad about it or upset about it. But if we just go, okay, what's the teaching here? What am I learning? Let me look at it. Let me take a step back and really evaluate the whole thing. As you do that, you'll start to see things. That's why meditation is so important, because you can quiet everything and actually see what's coming, what's going on, why this happened, what am I supposed to learn from it. You can start using that time in your quiet space to actually see things as they are, instead of in the emotion of the moment that it happens in. And it's an amazing thing. But you have to do it for yourself. And that's
the hard part.
Yeah, it is, but there's no other way.
To love yourself.
As much as I would like to be able to snap my fingers and everybody get it, it doesn't work like that. You have to do those 5 things, right? Hello? Hello? Is it Donna?
All right.
No, she's going to say she's stopping. That's like, I got it.
How you doing?
Good. How you?
You've been on vacation.
I've been online. This is good. Hi, how are you?
Oh, hi.
Donna.
I'm Chris.
Nice to meet you. Meet you, sir.
I'm great.
See, I told you we hug here.
Well, I didn't give you a hug.
I have to give you a hug.
So this is our process. If we let it be our process, we can either do it like that, or we can do it like we've always done it. But obviously, the way we've always done it doesn't work so well for us, or we would not all be here tonight, right? We would be somewhere else doing what we normally do. But we're all looking for that peace, for that balance, for that, we are. And the only way to get it is those 5 things. You have to speak truth. So the truth includes loving yourself. It includes loving yourself. I find that is one of the hardest things, for people to do, is actually love themselves, because they think it's something that it's not. I think,
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what they think it is, but I think they think it's ego. I think that
Yeah.
people think when you love yourself, oh, that's ego. Oh, she loves herself. But that's not the kind of love I'm talking about. I'm talking about finding the love for yourself and everyone in your heart. Like, it's a combination. It's not just the love for yourself. It's the combination. You find the love for yourself, and then automatically you start to love everyone else because of that love that you found inside your own heart. And it's a process. It doesn't happen just overnight. It's it's a process, and we have to pay attention. We have to go step by step by step inside ourselves. So it's like, I guess the first step would be learning the Ho'oponopono. It's telling yourself, forgiving yourself, loving yourself, being kind to yourself. Those are the steps, the number one steps. Because when you do that, you kill your ego. And you have to kill your ego in order to get to a point of enlightenment. And it sounds funny because we tend to classify our ego and ourself as one. But really our ego is the one that is making us feel not so great about ourselves. Ego is like when you're thinking, oh, they must be thinking this of me. That's your ego, because they're not thinking anything of you. Most of the time, nobody's thinking anything of you, but your ego is telling you, whispering in your ear, yes, they are, or I do better than they do. That's an ego kind of statement, So we have to kind of squash our ego and bring love in at the same time, and then speaking truth about ourselves. I'm kind. I'm a loving soul. This is a process that we have to go through, and we don't know it because no one ever told us, right? We've never been told to be loving and kind to ourselves. Occasionally, maybe maybe we get lucky sometime in our life and somebody says, you should love yourself. But it's rare because most people think that's conceited or that's ego, but it's completely opposite of that. So the more we pay attention to our thoughts and we look at them as if we say, okay, is that true? Is that true? Ask yourself that 100 times a day if you have to. When you have a thought in your mind, you say to yourself, is that true? And then you have to evaluate. Well, I don't know. Is it true? See, we get in a quandary over it because we really haven't spoken truth to ourselves too much. So we have to, okay, is it true? And then you'll say to yourself, well, yeah, it's true. And then you'll have to ask yourself again, but is it really true? Like, am I being kind? See, if you go through those, am I being kind? Am I caring about myself and others? And as you do that, you'll start to see, well, no, it's not so true. You'll see it, but you have to ask the question. Because if you never ask the question, you're just going on with your 60,000 thoughts a day, not worrying about what's going on in here. But when you don't worry about what's going on in here, you're creating things. And later on, you're going to go, well, how did that happen? And you started it. You did it. We think we don't, but we do. And if you pay attention, you'll see it. Because many times we speak something and then it comes and we're like, I was just thinking about that. And here it is, right? Well, that's because you thought about it. And most of the time when we think about something, then we have an action that we take. If we're not paying attention, we don't know we're taking that action. We just go about our business, but you've actually had a thought, then you acted on the thought, then it's starting to create something. And that's it 100% of the time. It doesn't not happen like that. It does happen like that, but we're not paying attention. And that's why we don't think we can do what we need to do, because our thoughts are so random. But if we start paying attention and we know what we're thinking, I evaluate my thoughts all the time. I mean, almost every minute of the day. And people are like, isn't that tiring? No, I'm happy to know that I'm thinking something, instead of my mind going. And then my life was a complete cesspool before. And I'm speaking truth. I had horrible thoughts about myself. I tried to kill myself when I was younger. These are all things from thoughts that you have about yourself. But when you start evaluating those thoughts and going, is that true? No, it's not true. And you really understand that these things are just thoughts that you had. They're not real. Like, it's your imagination carrying things away. And then you get caught in your imagination. And then you start to create the very things that you don't want. And it sounds crazy, but this is how it works. So throughout my life, I was on that train, right? I was on the train of not knowing what my thoughts were, feeling bad about myself, having very little confidence. And then I met someone that said, hey, love yourself, and that was Master Boomney. But actually, I had read that book, that Ho'oponopono book, way before Master Boomney. So I had started my journey prior to, but what happened was he taught me how to pay attention. He taught me how to pay attention to my thoughts. And he did not speak English, but he taught me well. And it's funny that you can learn from someone who doesn't speak English. But when someone is at a level where they do it with themselves, all you have to do is watch them. They speak, but you watch, and their actions are showing you. And that's how I learned from him. His actions showed me loving kindness. His actions showed me confidence. His actions showed me that he cared about himself, but he also cared about others deeply, and it was one of the best lessons that I've ever had, because he was going through some major stuff. Like, we think of temples and it's just like any other church or any other religion. If there's money involved, someone's got their hands in it. And so that's what happened to him. He was the head monk, but the one underneath of him had his hands in the money. And then one thing led to another, and it got found out. And they wanted to hurt him because he found out about it. And he was like, no, that's not right. We're not going to have that here. And asked them to give it back and just, and they wouldn't. And so he showed them loving kindness, even though they were trying to hurt him. That was one of the greatest lessons I've ever had, because I was not where I am now in my journey. And I was like, well, you need to do something. You need to, don't let them do that to you. And he just smiled at me. And I was like, make him understand, that he can't. And he would just smile. He understood perfectly, but he was wiser than I. And he showed me how to deal with people, even at the worst times in your life, with loving kindness. And it was an amazing thing to watch. Now, did I get it while he was doing it? No. I had to wait till I got out of that situation and look at it and go, oh my God, he taught me such a great lesson. And it was such an honor to be able to learn from someone like that, because he was true inside his own self. He showed me by his actions, not by words. And it was very beautiful to watch. To this day, still does the same, you know. And he'll be, I think he's hitting close to 100 now and still does the same.
He said he's a 109.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Daniel went to Thailand with Roger, my brother, and me, and got to meet Master Boomni. And so he's his stature is small, but he looks big.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's not a big person, but he looks like he's a big person. But it's funny how that works. But because his heart is so big, it makes everything like, and people come from all around to hear him. Even me, I go sit with him, but he doesn't speak English. Well, last year when I walked in, he looked at me and he said, "Oh, when did you get here?" And I said, "Oh, when did you start speaking English?" And he said, "1 word every day."
He's hooked on phonics.
Yeah, 1 word every day. He said, "You learn 1 word every day, you'll know." Because I'm in Thailand, so he wants me to learn Thai, and he has 1 word every day. I was like, "Well, you learned English. I guess I can learn Thai." So this is the joy that you have when nothing can get to you. No matter what it is, you're at peace with it because you know that it's not bad, it's not good, it just is. It just is. We get a little upset if things don't go our way, okay? But we don't know the way. And so we're trying to make things happen and we cannot see the end result. And there's something kind of magical about this world that we live in because it tries to help us. I don't know. It could be God. It could be angels. I don't know what it is. It could be Buddha. I don't know. But I can tell you for certain that it's trying to help us. And we are the ones stopping it. Okay. And it's just like my brother who had the motorcycle accident. That was the universe, God, whatever, trying to help him. He didn't see it like that at first, but he's beginning to. He's beginning to see. And he's starting to recognize that he needed a little work in patience. So this is a good one because it's teaching him a lot of patience. When you want to walk and you cannot, you got to have patience. Eventually you'll be able to do it, but right now you got to take what you got, And so throughout our life, what really causes our suffering is the wanting it to be different, not accepting things just as they are. No, I want it this way. No, I want it that way. And most of the time we'll get something, I want it this way. Okay, we get it this way. Well, no, that's not exactly what I wanted. And we say that, like that's not exactly what I didn't know I'd have to do that to get there, And we think about things like this and we get, okay, well, I wanted that, but I didn't want to have to do this to get that.
It's like,
Yeah. But here it is. If we're patient, if we're kind, if we're loving, everything will flow to you right at the right time. I promise that's the truth. I didn't in my wildest dreams, I never thought I'd go to Thailand. Never entered my mind. I never thought I'd go to India. And Sri Lanka was way not even, I didn't even know where that was. But I ended up in all three of those places without any, I didn't think, okay, I'm going to plan a trip and I'm going to go to Thailand and then I'm going to go to, no, that's not what happened. Matter of fact, Master Boomni said to me, you're going to go to Thailand and you're going to go to India. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about. Within 3 months, I was in India. I don't know. And I don't have a lot of money to travel. Again, I don't know. Because I let things happen the way they were supposed to happen. First time I went to Thailand, I had $2,500 to my name. And I went. I didn't know why I was going. Something inside me said, you have to go. The monks had come over and I don't know what this is saying.
Did Master Bong ever go to India?
Is that like repeating this or
Yeah.
something? Okay. Yes, Master Bong's been to India many times.
No. Remember he was raising money to them.
Oh, yes, he did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did. Master Bong is another monk there that had a brain aneurysm, and they didn't think he was going to live. But he did live, and he is still alive today. And he has a little bit hard time talking and walking, but he's working on it. And he's a beautiful soul. So, but what happened when I went to Thailand is, of course, Master Boomni said, you're going. And I was like, no, I'm not. And then the next thing I know is a monk came from Thailand over here and invited me to go back there. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to go. He actually brought me a Pali to English dictionary when he came. And that meant when Master Boomni said things, I could look it up in the dictionary and kind of start understanding. Because when he said Sachatum, Metatum, Kantitum, Widiatum, Obekatum, I was like, I have no idea what that means. And what he said to me was, you will teach it to more people than you can count. And I said, well, I don't know how I'm going to teach it. I don't know what it says, And he goes, you will. Now, how did I know he said that? Because I had an interpreter there with me at that time. But most of the time when I sat with him, I didn't have one. I was just listening to what he was saying and writing down phonetically what he said. So when he said Sachatum, I would sound it out and write it like it sounded. I didn't know if I was spelling it correctly. The first time he said it, I was like, how do you spell that? And he just looked at me. Okay. So I figured it out. But that's what he wanted me to do. He could have had someone come and interpret for me all the time. But he wanted me to give the effort to figure it out. And that's what I did. And so I looked in that dictionary. Now, the Pali to English dictionary is not like Webster. Okay. It doesn't go alphabetically. So it was a challenge when I started.
And there's different tones.
Yes. But in the dictionary itself, okay, it doesn't start at A and go to B and C and D. No. It's all over the place. And you have to figure out how to use that dictionary as well as figuring out what it's saying. But the more effort that you put into it, the more you receive out of it. And so if we're constantly putting effort towards understanding our own self. This is self-discovery. The more we put into it, the more we get out of it, the more understanding we will have. So that monk came with the dictionary. I was like, this is a sign. I got to go to Thailand. $2,500 I had. That's it to my name. I went to Thailand. And a week before I went to Thailand, he calls me and says, get your visa for India. I said, what? He's like, yeah, we're going to India for 10 days. Get your visa. There it was. I was like, I don't even know how this is happening.
Wasn't this in the middle of COVID too?
No, that was
Oh, the
before
before.
COVID. Yeah. So that's what I did. I went. I'm in India on a bus, okay, with 30 people that don't speak English by myself. Like, I mean, there were 30 people there that didn't speak English, but I was the Lone Ranger on the English, okay? And at first, I got frustrated, okay, because they're talking, like, they're not quiet on that bus. We've got a monk standing in the front with a loudspeaker talking the entire time in Thai. Okay. And he's telling everybody where we're going, but I don't know where we're going because he's speaking Thai. So it was a lesson in learning how to let go. You see, I had to go somewhere and completely let go of any kind of control or anything I thought I was going to do or any of it, and just let it be. Oh, what a beautiful lesson. And I went all over India, not knowing that I was following the footsteps of Buddha. I had no idea. I was just going from one place to another, to another, to another. We ended under the Bodhi tree, where thousands of people come every single year to chant together. And it was one of the most powerful things I've ever witnessed in my life. And I mean thousands. I mean people from all over the world come and they sit underneath this tree and they chant. And the chanting is so, first of all, it's strange but beautiful all at the same time, and powerful. And their chants mean something. Like, they're just not chanting random things. They're chanting, kindness to the world. They're chanting loving kindness to everyone around the world. May all be healed. May all be well. May all be, this is the kind of chants they're doing. And they're very powerful. And you can feel it in your heart as they're doing it, can't you, Donna? One time, Vanessa, I took her with me. Well, I didn't take her with me. She was in Thailand, but then she ended up with me. And we went to Master Bong's. And it was not long after he had gotten out of the hospital. So all the monks from around, there were over 100 monks there, were chanting healing for him. And I'm always, there with them. They bring me in and they put me up front. But I didn't think about Vanessa and not knowing how powerful these chants are. And so she's sitting behind me. And as they start, all of a sudden I thought, oh, she probably doesn't and I reached back and I touched her leg and I said, are you okay? And she goes, I think so. I don't know. And what had happened was, it was so powerful. It felt like she thought she was having a heart attack.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. And so I told Donna that prior to chanting, and she said, it's good you told me that before we went. But this is how powerful this is. This loving kindness is. You know, it's so amazing, and we have everyone in the world has it in them, but not everyone knows they have it in them. So they get sidetracked. Like my brother was sidetracked because he didn't know. All his life I told him, Roger, I see your heart. And he would get angry with me. Daniel knows because he's friends with Roger. But now he understands because he got a chance to see his own heart. And it changed him. Loving kindness is so amazing. And it's ironic that that's all it is. Like, if someone were to say when we're little, hey, all you got to do is be loving and kind. Just be loving and kind. And let us know that all our life we could have this world in beautiful peace. But right now, not many people know what loving kindness truly is. They're wrapped up in all the stuff going on. And I have, people talk to me all the time. And some of them are like, oh, you should watch the news because you don't know what's going on if you don't watch the news. I said, you don't know what's going on when you do watch the news because it's only what they want you to hear. Like, it's monitored.
Biased.
But I know in my heart what's going on inside of me. And if I pay attention to my heart and I generate that out, anybody I meet will feel loving kindness. And that is how to change the world, through your own loving kindness inside your own heart. But we don't think that's true. Like most people think, no, that can't be it. Yes, it is it. Everybody throughout history who has been a guru or, Jesus or anybody that you think about, Thich Nhat Hanh, Gandhi, anybody that you think about that is a figure that helped people was all about spreading loving kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them. So they have something that they're trying to express to everyone in the world. But everybody is going, no, that can't be it. That's not it.
Yeah, it's not that simple.
But it is.
Yeah.
It is exactly that simple. And if we feel it for ourselves first, that's why it's important to fix you first, to forgive yourself first, to love yourself first. Because as you do that, then it spreads. It's like a good virus, it spreads.
You have it as a child. That's
Yes,
the craziest
yes.
thing. And then throughout life, you start to lose it. You have to regain it.
Yes. It never goes away.
Right.
But we just put a bunch of garbage on top of it. And so we've got to clean that closet out to get to this beautiful heart that's been there the whole time. I mean, children they have it. They have it. They want to hug everybody. They want to love everybody. They have it. But we kill it in them. We squash it down in them. We're like, no, don't do that,
Times are dangerous.
Yes. But the truth is, they're showing us. Like, if you hang out with little kids for a while, next thing you know, you're feeling pretty good, right? Like, my grandson is just like a light beaming, it's beautiful. So, and that's the other thing. We think we have to be around people or around them to feel their love or to feel good about them. I haven't seen my grandson in 5 years, but I know his heart and he knows mine. The love isn't conditioned on whether you're around somebody or not. And we think it is, but it's not. Love is there whether you're around them or not around them. It's still there. But we have to condition ourselves to understand that. Because throughout life, we've been taught, oh no, you have to be around them. They have to be with you. Not true. I have friends in Thailand that I love dearly, but I don't see them every day because I'm here. But the love hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. It's a
Okay.
they call me, and some of them, they don't know any English other than hi and bye. And so they'll call me and say, Kim, hi. And I'm like, hi. And they're like, okay, bye. But they're sharing their love with me. They're just letting me know they're thinking of me and they love me. I get it. I understand it. I appreciate it. See how beautiful it is? Just talking about love makes us all smile, right? That's the key. That's the magical thing that changes everything. No one can be angry when you're filled with love. They're not going to be angry at you. They're going to feel that love. They're, oh yeah, I want some of that.
Yeah, I worked Roger over a couple times. He was pure anger, and then I would just come in the room. And
Yes.
I had thought he was joking for so long, but he was angry the entire time. And I was
Yes.
like, well, why weren't you angry when I was there? He's like, I don't know, something about you.
Yeah. But here it is. See, yes, he was angry his entire life, my brother.
Yeah.
His entire life. Didn't even know why. Just angry. But going to Thailand and feeling, that's why I felt like it was so important for him to go. And to be honest, and he's spoken this, if he had not gone to Thailand, he may not be alive right now.
100%.
Yeah, because when he went to Thailand, he was drinking heavily and he was doing drugs heavily. And he couldn't really walk through the airport even. We had to get a wheelchair to wheel him through the airport. But he went to Thailand, and by the time he came home, he had been filled with so much love. He was beaming, and he could walk 8 miles.
Mhm.
That's how love changed him. And it was nothing but love. That's all it was. He did a little work on himself too, but I mean, the love initiated his change inside. And he could see pure love. At first he was like, well, why are they being so nice to me? What do they want? And I said, nothing. They want nothing. They want to share a meal. They want to give you food. But why? Because that's called unconditional love. Most of us here don't experience that from strangers. Because here we're, oh no, don't talk to strangers. Oh no, there's too many things going on in this world. But I don't care. I've never been hurt. Like I can talk to anyone. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm not afraid because I know how powerful love is. And it just truly is amazing. If we learn that, if we understand that. But we got to do step by step. It's got to be, you have to take time to quiet your mind a little bit, to be able to see what you're thinking about and know whether, okay, do I want to let that float on by, go on down the river and not attach to it, not hold on to it? Is it something that's going to make me have love inside, or is it something that's going to make me have resentment and anger? And you have to evaluate, because we have thoughts all the time. You can't help what thoughts come into your mind. Okay. You're not to blame for any thoughts that come into your mind. They're random. They come in, they go out, they come in, they go out. But what you do need to hold yourself accountable for is what you do with those thoughts. Like, what are you going to do with it? Is it something that's worth keeping, or is it something that's worth letting go? Because a lot of times we have garbage. We have these thoughts that aren't good. So let them go. And how do we let it go? Take a breath, follow your breath. Then all of a sudden you're not thinking about that anymore. You're thinking about your breath. Easy as that. And just let it, you don't need to carry it. Just let it go. The monks say, "Let it go, let it be."
Mhm.
Don't carry it. Let it go. It's okay. It's okay just to be like, oh, that was just a thought. Nothing more. And as we do that, we gain wisdom. We gain it. And we're able to see things really for what they are. I can look at anyone and I know their heart immediately. But it's only because I've spent a lot of time in meditation. You begin to recognize love inside people. Like when you walk into a room, you see, oh yeah, they're beautiful. And then you see, and then oh no, I don't want to go over in that corner. I want to stay over here. You tend to start understanding people. And most of the time, I don't just go to the person who's all love and kindness. I'm usually drifting over to this person because I know that they need help. They've never had someone tell them to love themselves. So they're angry inside. But I see that. And I can usually talk to them and help them a little bit, give them a little tool to use so they can go home with it. You know, I don't fix them. They fix themselves if they're paying attention. And it's beautiful. But that's the journey that you're on, because once we get it, once we really get it, then there's many people who also need to get it. And there's nothing wrong with sharing. But don't share until you get it. Because if you start sharing before you get it, then they'll be like, well, you're not all that. So why are you telling me? Right? Yeah, it happens. It happens. Because what happens is once you start feeling better, you want to share that. You want to start teaching everybody, oh, I got it. I got it. I got this thing. You need to know it. But some people don't want to hear it, number one. So they'll cut you off. And then you're like, no, but wait, you got to hear this. Because you're so excited inside yourself for the peace that you have found. There's nothing wrong with that. But just keep your peace. You don't need to let them, they'll get it in their own time. But most of the time we want to force somebody, here, you got to listen to me, but you can't, they're only going to hear what they want to hear. And when they're ready to hear it, they'll find you, right? They'll find you. You don't have to look for people to help because there's an abundance of them. And most of them want to get out of suffering. But until we do ourselves, there's no way we can help someone else do something that we haven't done ourselves. Took me a long time to understand that. Took me a long time to get it. But now, once I do that, then I know when it's time to stop. See, that's why I said I'm taking a little sabbatical, right? I'm taking time. I don't know when or if I'll teach more, but right now I know it's time for me to go into to deep meditation for myself. Because there's much more. We're never finished. See, we think we're going to get to a point where, okay, this is it. I got it. I'm done. No, you're not done until you're dead. That's when you're finished. But until then, we just keep working on ourselves. What else do we have to do? Nothing. We're here. We might as well try to make the best me I can make. And how do I do that? Through kindness, through love. That's how you do it. And truth. It's so important. Satyatam, metatam, kantitam, buddhiyatam, ubekatam. Those 5 things. Truth, loving kindness, patience, effort, and balance. Ubeka. Those things are probably the most important things to start with. Because if you do those, the beauty of this is once you start speaking truth to yourself, the love automatically comes. It's amazing. Like it just automatically, then you're like, oh, well, I'm feeling kind of like I love myself. And then the next thing is patience. You begin to start to have patience with yourself. And most people don't. They're like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. I should have done this and that. No patience with ourselves whatsoever. But then once you have truth and loving kindness, the patience flows because you're in truth. Hey, it's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. This is truth. Why get upset about it? That's truth. Like if we start saying these things to ourselves, most of the time we're running on emotion and we're like, oh, I wanted that to happen. Why couldn't it happen? Instead of being like, oh, okay, I'm okay with that. Be okay with whatever it is. We constantly want something else. We're never okay with just this. But try to be okay with whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is. Don't wish for something else. That's going to create suffering because if you don't get it, then you're upset about not getting it. If you do get it, you're upset because it wasn't exactly what you wanted. Because we don't know what we want. That's the hard thing. We don't know. This is our first time, or maybe it's our first time, I don't know. But whatever it is, we don't know. We're here, we're human, but we're not exactly sure what we're supposed to do with that. Right? Mm-hmm. And so we fumble around trying to figure it out. It's okay. We're all the same in that respect. But rest assured, if you start speaking truth to yourself, if you start being kind to yourself, all of it will fall into place. And if you find yourself being impatient with yourself, say it. Go, oh, I don't need to be all upset about this. Like, just check yourself. That's all. Just check yourself. Oh, why am I upset about this? Is it worth it? Now, here's big truth, okay? When we get upset about something, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It does nothing except for get you upset. But it doesn't change anything. So you sit in anger and frustration for no apparent reason whatsoever. And we do it a lot because we're not paying attention to and we're not speaking truth to ourselves. If we stop and say, okay, that happened. Why am I upset about it? And what good does being upset about it do? If you speak that to yourself, then you can stop and think, well, it's really not doing anything. So I'm going to let that go so I can be in peace inside myself. See, there's really nothing worth losing your peace over. I don't think. In this world, there's nothing worth losing your peace, because when you lose your peace, it doesn't help the situation. It doesn't do anything for the situation. If you're upset about a situation that has to do with someone else, you being upset isn't helping that situation. It's not helping that person. Like, a lot of people think that they have to be upset because someone else is upset. Oh, they're upset. Let me be upset with them. But that doesn't help them. That only compounds it. You know, misery loves company. So you're adding misery to their misery. It doesn't make any sense. But we do it all the time. We'll call a friend. Oh, you know what just happened? And they'll say, what? Well, it's really bad, really bad. And so immediately, oh, it is? I'm so sorry. They don't even know what happened. They're already sorry. You understand? It doesn't make any sense what we do. But when we start speaking truth, we can say to ourselves, like, I had a lady call me that was at the same rehab my brother's in. Her husband was there. And I knew that he was going to pass away. I could tell. And so I gave her my number. And I said, if you need anything, you can call me. So she was taking him home. And he died that night when she got him home, or the next day he died. She called me and she said, I just wanted you to know he passed away. And I said, well, I'm happy he's not in pain anymore. Mm-hmm. And I am sorry that you're in pain. I know you're in pain and I'm sorry for that. But hopefully you'll find peace in the fact that he's no longer suffering. And she said, yes, that's exactly how I feel too. But most people will just say, oh my God, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. But it wasn't terrible. He was in suffering. Death is not the worst thing that could happen to you. It's going to happen to all of us. Rest assured, none of us is getting out of here alive. So we might as well get comfortable with that idea. And so when she realized that he was dying, she took him home, which was a beautiful thing. And that's what I told her. I said, oh, that's beautiful. It's good that you're doing that. And when she called me, I'm sure she expected to hear, oh, I'm so sorry. But I said, well, I'm happy that he's no longer in suffering. And that was exactly how she felt too. I'm sure that she's going to miss him. Mm-hmm. But if we plant the seed of it's okay, then it's okay. But if we plant the seed, it's not okay. First of all, we can't change it. So we're fighting an uphill battle that we'll never win. We can't change death. We can't change dying. We can't change that. So if we choose to suffer over it, we're going to suffer for a long time because it happens every day. Somebody's dying every day. But it's okay because that we know that coming in the world. When we're born, we know we're not going to leave here alive. You know, maybe, but I've never known anybody that does. You know what I'm saying? So as we just accept things and we begin not to have that heaviness anymore, because we can just be like, okay, it is what it is. That happened. It's okay. It didn't happen to you. Roger had a motorcycle accident. Okay? Didn't actually happen to him. Happened to his body. But this is still same as it was. See, we think we're our bodies. This is hard for people to get to. Deep. We think this is us. But when we close our eyes and have a conversation inside, who is that talking? It's not our body. Right?
Mhm.
And we all do it. We might be laying in bed getting ready to go to sleep, and we're having conversations inside our own mind.
Mhm.
With who?
So our
Yes.
actual self.
That's who we are. This is on loan while we're here. It's a loaner car. We're driving it. We try to maintain it. You know, I used to maintain mine with really bad things. Now I've started trying to maintain I'm putting the right gasoline in my tank now. I used to not put the right gasoline. I used to eat a lot of junk. Now I try to eat very healthy. So it's a process. Once we understand that our body is just our car, we're driving it while we're here. But our true self is something that we can't see and we can't touch. But we certainly have conversations with it a lot. So that's what you need to nurture. See, we think getting a new car, getting a house, eating good food, all these things we think are what is going to make us happy.
Happy success, yeah.
But in reality, it's nothing. Money, paper.
Mhm.
It's just paper. As we go through this journey, you'll start recognizing yourself. And it's beautiful when you do. See, Roger saw himself for the first time in his life. He's 62 years old. First time in his life, he saw his true self, his heart. Most of us don't see our true self. We have to go through this journey, this process of getting to know who we are, because we've spent our lifetime trying to please everyone else. Everybody in the world, we're trying to do this and that and make this happen and make that happen. And we've never taken time to look inside ourselves. But boy, when we do, there's amazing things to be found. And it's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Okay, we got to do a meditation. Sorry. I get lost in it. All right. Let's sit up and relax and take a deep breath and let it out. Take another deep breath. Let it out. And one more time, take a deep breath and let it out. And I'm going to do the Pato chant while we do this. So Pato is the name of Buddha, and what the name of Buddha actually means is I am awake. So just breathing in, breathing out. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Another deep breath in. And let it out. And one more time. Deep breath in. And let it out. Metta ceto vimuttiya, karuna ceto vimuttiya, mudita ceto vimuttiya, ubeka ceto vimuttiya. Okay. How do we feel?
I feel you.
Good for me then.
Yes. Yes.